A Toledo-born actor is now on the New York Times bestsellers list in their brand new memoir, Semi-Well-Adjusted Despite Literally Everything. Alyson Stoner pulls back the curtain on the highs and lows of life in Hollywood. And this afternoon, Alyson joins us to talk about that journey, the lessons learned, and what they hope readers will take away. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
It's so nice to see you and to say hello to my hometown.
You have a lot of fans here in Toledo, and it's so exciting that your memoir became an instant bestseller on the New York Times list. What does that mean for you to be able to reach so many people?
It's got quite a ring to it as a title, doesn't it? I think most folks are familiar with my early work, and the ability to reintroduce myself today as a mental health practitioner, as a child rights advocate, as someone who has always loved writing but hasn't shared it with the world in this way is really special. And to see the response, especially Toledoans who have reached out and sent messages about how it's shifted their perspective, not only on Hollywood, but also about what it means to grow up in Toledo, that has been so moving. And there are just tons of references about my time in Toledo in the book. So it feels like a shared win with the community.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We're all very...
You're a New York Times bestselling author. Congrats.
Yes, we're very excited for you, truly. And talk a little bit then about that writing process. You said you've always loved to write. What was it like to write a memoir? There had to be, a little challenging, but maybe therapeutic too?
Sure. Well, I wanted to make sure that if I was sharing my story, it wasn't just because I needed the validation of being heard. I can do that in therapy or with my community. So I wanted the intention here to be something that allowed readers to connect new dots and to understand not only what's happening in the industry for high-performing children, but also how it relates to all of our lives, being in a digital world where we're negotiating privacy issues and visibility on social media and parasocial relationships with strangers online. So I wanted to make sure it had relevance to what we're experiencing in 2025. And the writing process itself, listen, I researched for 7 years. I wrote every day for 14 months straight. And while I do not wish the arduous process on anyone, I will say the liberation on the other side is something I do hope for everyone. I think if anyone's looking to break the patterns of the narratives that have been driving their lives for years and years, this memoir can be an example of one human's journey toward that kind of self-reclamation and freedom.
That's beautiful, really. And you've taken this journey also into mental health and becoming a practitioner. That's huge. Talk a little bit about that journey and what you're hoping for in the future with that.
Yes. So in the last few weeks, I was also accepted onto the local board for SAG-AFTRA, which means I can now serve performers of all ages in the industry as a mental health practitioner and an advocate. And I run a company with my sister, Corey. We both are from Toledo, and it's called Movement Genius. And we offer therapist-led content to support well-being. And one of our projects is an artist toolkit specifically for people pursuing the performing arts. So we're trying to tackle ways to serve the individuals and families, to think about what's happening in the system, and then also at a policy level. I'm working on introducing and reintroducing some bills, which I can't necessarily speak about in detail right now, but when you see my face in a bill soon, definitely take a second look, because we're trying to protect children online, both as consumers of media and also as producers of media.
That's huge. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and the conversations my husband and I have in our house about how to protect her and it's very challenging. So to know that somebody out there is working on these types of things to protect our kids is huge, and we thank you for that work. It's again, we just congratulate you on the work that you're doing, but also you mentioned too that you hope that this is the last memoir of its kind. So you really do hope that there could be some fixes here and there can be some work done in this capacity.
Absolutely. So on set, there are simple protocols and best practices that we can adjust, especially when working with minors. And to be honest, the industry was not designed by or for children. So it's understandable that not everyone is a child development expert, not everyone is a licensed trauma therapist, but that's where we can collaborate with people with different specializations. And if we, as practitioners, understand that children are not just mini adults, they do have different needs, and they're in a work environment with different kinds of abnormal responsibilities, we can tailor the experience so that it's more developmentally appropriate, and we can reduce the harm while still being able to tell these stories in artistic and compelling ways. So it's not about making the process less fun. It's actually about finding healthier ways for everyone to flourish while they pursue their passions. And of course, this doesn't just apply to Hollywood. We've got young athletes, we've got young students, and young people are navigating so many pressures. So what can we do as the supportive adults to create healthier experiences as they're growing up?
Yeah, that's amazing. All these, as you mentioned, just so many pressures depending on what kids are doing. They sometimes get all in, and they really do go all in, and there's a lot out there at their disposal. So thanks so much for your work. Again, the memoir, Semi-Well-Adjusted, Despite Literally Everything. Love the title. It's amazing. You can get it anywhere, and you narrate the audiobook too, so that's really cool.
I do, and I will say 25 years of experience as a voiceover artist does come in handy for that. So definitely take a listen.
Yeah, either way, read or listen. Alyson, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us, and congrats again on the memoir, and best of luck in everything that you do here in the future.
Thank you, and hi, Dad.
Oh, got to get that in there, right? Yeah.
Always.
Thanks so much.